Alright guys, welcome to Everyday Journey. You can see I got this thing taken apart a little. We're diagnosing it. We're trying to figure out why it won't start. So please continue to watch here and you'll see how to check it all out. Maybe be able to fix your own problem. Alright guys, lawnmower won't start. So what do you got to do? Well, first thing I do is check. A lot of times people leave gas in it, especially over winter. And so if you got gas in the tank and it's been sitting a while, go ahead and empty it. Normally there's a hose coming out like this one here, coming down. It goes to the carburetor. And go ahead and remove the hose and get ready. Like if you can, go ahead and take a pair of vice grips and just kind of pinch down on the hose. That way you can kind of block it off. Don't pinch it too hard, just enough to shut it off most of the way, if not all the way. You can go ahead and remove whatever kind of pin or little clamp that's on here, and then go ahead and remove that. Drain your gas into something, and then go ahead and hook it back up. Go ahead and fill it back up with gas, fresh gas, and try again. If that doesn't work, the next thing you want to do is go ahead and pull off whatever kind of cover you have to get to your air filter and see if it needs to be cleaned and or replaced. Go ahead and replace it. If it's if it looks horrible, go ahead and replace it. Still may not get everything started, but it's at least getting it back to where it needs to be to get it started. The other thing I didn't say is make sure that this one has an on-off valve. Go ahead and make sure that you've got that on. Typically, if it's pointing towards the hose, that means it's going through. If it's going against it, that means it's shutting it off. So make sure you're getting gas. So now, if you check both of those things and you're still not getting it started, now we need to go ahead and check and see if it's getting spark. All right, so I got this thing spun around here. This is a 3/16 to 20 or 13/16 to 21 millimeter socket. Got a little rubber thing in there that kind of holds onto the spark plug. If you didn't have it, whatever will fit on there. But we just remove the spark plug wire and go ahead and remove the spark plug. And look at your spark plug, and what you're looking for with this is you're looking for if there's a lot of oil all over it. In this case there is, and you can see it's also kind of blackened, which is normal, well, somewhat normal. It probably means that it's, and this one I know, when it was running, it was smoking a little bit, so it's probably burning a little bit of oil. This is where it's burning it, so obviously that's going to be kind of corroded a little bit. So we'll go ahead and take a little wire brush and clean this up. And here's maybe a little bit better view of it. You can see it just kind of got some buildup on there. So we'll go ahead and clean this up real quick. If you don't feel like doing this, or if it's been a while since you've actually cleaned it up, or since you've actually replaced it, go ahead and go get another one. Typically, let's see here in a second. Typically, you can read on the side of it the number. Go and get another one exactly like it. Here's another thing too. This little deal up here, some of them don't, but this one does. Screws up. Make sure that's screwed all the way down. So now that we got that clean, we're going to go ahead and put it back in. And you can go ahead and try it at this point. But the other thing you can do is you can go to, and I bought this little tool at I say tool, but I guess it is a tool. Alright, you don't want to over tighten that too much because you could actually break it off or strip out everything. Here's what I was talking about. got this right here. This is a spark plug tester. So basically you just put this where your spark plug cable would go. Go ahead and hook the other end into the spark plug wire. And you go ahead and pull it. And you may need 2 people to do this. Alright, now we've determined the gas is good, determined it's getting spark. So now we kind of want to check and see about the compression. I haven't mentioned anything about checking the oil on this. It's not really going to tell you anything except for maybe if there's no oil. In that case, you could over here on the other side, I've got the oil dipstick. Just open that up and look. If it has no oil on it, you can kind of sniff it a little bit, see if it smells like it's just burnt up. See if it's black as coal. You know, you can try doing an oil change, but right now the engine itself is turning, and it's got oil. This one does. Got gas, got everything. So the next thing we need to do is we're actually going to check the compression. This is a compression test kit. I actually got this from our good friends at O'Reilly Auto Parts. You go in there and you buy this. It's a rental, but you go in there and buy it, pay full price for it, you use it, and then you return it. And it's actually a rental, so it's not like you don't have to feel bad about returning it or anything else. That's just the way you do it. So we're going to use this, and we turn the mower around, and I'll show you how. Alright, so we need to take our spark plug tester back off. I'm trying to get this done before it rains. It's coming in quick, I can see it. Go ahead and remove your spark plug. And then we take the compression test kit here. And what it's got is it's got a dial and a hose. You check and see if this hose fits into where your spark plug goes. If it doesn't, there's an adapter in here that you can put on it. It looks like this one should fit. Not. Alright. So we're going to try this adapter. There it goes, that's fitting. Alright, so we get this in there, and you can tighten it up a little bit. I'm not going to. You just want to make sure not to tighten it too much. I'm actually going to see if that socket doesn't fit it. I'm just going to put it on there hand tight. Holy cow, here comes the rain. I have to take this inside. Alright, that's hand tight. This has like an air compression nozzle on it. Just pull it back, put it in there, and there it goes. So what we do is it's got a little button on the side. Make sure to push that. It's going to reset the dial. And then I kind of just set this down. Go ahead and pull it. We pulled it a couple of times here. Let's see what we're at. This one's showing, what was that, halfway in between 90 and 120, and 20, it's about 105, I think. But I've looked this up before, and that seems to be a good compression. You're going to have to check it on your own. You just look up the type of motor that you got. Look it up online, see if you can find the specs on it. And what you're looking for is the compression test results. So see how much compression you have in your cylinder. So go ahead and reset that one. If you want, you can try it a couple of times. I'm not going to because I think this one's good. So now that I know this is good, if you have any other equipment and you just want to get some readings on it just to make sure, you could use this same compression test kit, you know, on all those. If you know it's running now, you know, you already got this thing anyway. If you know it's running now, go ahead and do the compression test on it. You know, write it down, keep it to the side, or, you know, keep it in a place where you can keep it safe and all that. And that way you can, if you ever get anything outside of those test results, there's a good chance you maybe have an issue. So we're going to go ahead and put our spark plug back in here. Holy cow. I got to get that back out. Since I only put it in here hand tight, it should do just fine. Just make sure not to put on the threads. There we go. Yeah, since the rain's coming in, we're going to go ahead and take this inside and see about some other things we can check. Put the spark plug back in here. Again, you don't want to get that too tight. Put your spark plug cable back on. Alright guys, we're at the point now to where I've got two issues with it. It could be that carburetor needs to be cleaned out, rebuilt maybe, or there's a shear pin that's in these things. I'm going to try the shear pin first because I want to make sure. If it's good, it's good. I can just put it back together. Carburetor, on the other hand, if you take it apart, most of the time you're going to tear up gaskets and stuff, so you'll go ahead and have to buy new gaskets, and I don't have any of those just yet, so we'll start with the shear pin. It's inside here. First thing you got to do, this right here, on this model anyway, we've got a 10mm socket on top, or 10mm nut. And there's 3 of them. Go ahead and take those off first. What this is going to do is it's going to give us access to the pull cord. As this comes off, I don't know if this is a cover or if it's actually connected to it, but if it's connected to it, then as this comes off of here, be expecting that this is going to kind of pop loose a spring and stuff. Ooh, we're lucky. It's all contained in here. That's great. As you can see, this is your where your pull string is. As you pull on it, these spread out and grab hold of the outside here, or actually better yet, it'll basically grab hold of the top of the what do you call this, flywheel, I guess, and it'll engage on there, and then cause your motor to crank, your crankshaft to turn there. If you ever needed to mess with this, there's one, looks like a torqued bit right in the center. You just undo that. This whole thing should come off, and you can rewind a new cord on there if you had to. Possibly put a new spring in there if you had to. Just be careful because these little plastic pieces right here can come off. The other thing you may look for is make sure these plastic pieces aren't worn or broken. If they are, go ahead and order some. So that's that. We're going to leave that connected. So the next thing I need to do is I need to gain access to all this. And this is great because it just comes right off. This is my gas tank connected to here. I'm going to try to just get it out of the way without disconnecting it. Let's see if it's possible. No, anything's possible. Yeah, I don't like that. Oh, man. Alright, so this is your flywheel. Let me turn this so you can see it. The other thing I didn't mention yet, the other thing you may have an issue with, if you weren't getting spark, then it's because of this little doohickey right here. Every time this turns around, spins around, there's a magnet in it, and as it passes by this, I think they call it the magneto, as it passes by this, it will cause your spark plug to spark. Mine is sparking, so we know that's not an issue. So what we need to do now is actually, I'm going to remove this flywheel. So got a nut on top that got to take off, and I'll show you that in a second. Alright, I believe it's a little bit loose, but I'm going to use it. This is 19mm socket. How you'd get this off is you could either take your ratchet strap or some kind of strong cord or something and actually tie underneath to the blade, making sure that you don't bend the blade, but tie it off to something to keep your blade from turning. The other way is to, well, that's pretty much about the only way. You could put something on the shaft down there, and you know, like a giant breaker bar or something, to keep it from turning that way. Or you could do like I'm doing. You could either use an air impact gun or this one's electric, but it seems to work pretty good. Make sure you know which way the threads are going, because you don't want to tighten this thing anymore. So we'll put it on there, make sure it's going in reverse, and there we go. So we've got that off. Now the thing is with this flywheel is it's kind of wedged on there. I'll show you the keyway here in a second. Okay, right there you can see on top of the crankshaft. You see that little place to the right, and I'm holding the flashlight here, so that place to the right there, it looks like kind of rectangular. That's where a key or your shear pin is inside there. We actually have to pry this whole flywheel off and then look in there for that. And what I'm looking for is to see if it's sheared, and if it is, then it needs to be replaced, because possibly what it could be doing, yes, it's firing, but that shear pin kind of keeps the flywheel in the proper position, so that we'll fire. It's the timing. As long as that flywheel is in the proper position, it's in the proper timing. If it's sheared and it's spun on here, then it's going to fire still, but it's going to fire in the wrong place. So your engine won't be in the proper place for it to actually combust the gas. So we're checking for that right now. All right, I removed this spring right here. Just kind of in my way. Just pulled it off and just let it sit there. This thing right here, this is a 3-jaw puller set. Actually got this one from good old Harbor Freight. You can rent these. Whenever I went to O'Reilly's, they do rent them there. So you could get them that way. But I have needed one of these before, and I never got it then, so I decided to go ahead and get it this time. So what we're doing is just trying our best to spread this out underneath here. I don't know if we're going to be able to get it or not. I guess we'll see here in a second. I think that might get it. We'll see. We got to be very careful because this whole thing's aluminum. So looks like we got, is that 17mm socket on top. We're just going to go ever so slowly and watching for damage all the way around. It's being aluminum. I think things could crack and break pretty easily. And as I tighten down on this, it's going to pull the whole thing up. Maybe. Whew. There we go. She was on there tight. So now with that sudden pop like that, we'll check for damage just to make sure. You want to look through, make sure all the teeth, none of those, or these fins here, none of those are cracked. Doesn't look like there was any damage to the bottom. And here is where the magneto is, or the magnets are. Just every time it rotates around there, it makes it spark. So let's see where our shear pin is. Alright, you got to turn around here. Go ahead and zoom in here to the shear pin. And if you can see this, it's right here. It's still intact. It's a little moon-shaped piece. The fact that it's still intact means that I most likely have a carburetor problem. So luckily we didn't break anything with taking it off like this. But now we know that it's not the shear pin. I kind of figured it wasn't the shear pin anyway, because you have to damage the blade typically. You know, catch the blade on something to really shear that pin off. So the blade was still in good shape, and it was running before. Well, it was running before, so yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and work on a carburetor. I guess I'll order the parts, and you guys can come back and see how that's done. So y'all take care. Appreciate you watching. Again, appreciate all the subscribers. This is your first time, please subscribe. There'll be more videos, and you guys have a good day.